Welcome to RTV Global Network. I'm your guide, Alex, and I'm here with Jordan.
Hey, everyone.
So imagine you were just dying of thirst, right? Like it's 37-degree heat outside.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah. And you finally managed to find and buy a sealed bottle of drinking water.
Best feeling in the world.
Right. But then you realize the safety certification on the label is completely fake.
Yeah.
You were drinking a counterfeit bottle of, well, who knows what.
Gosh.
And that isn't some dystopian novel. That is happening right now in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, today.
Exactly. Today is August 24th, 2026,
Right.
and we are embarking on a massive deep dive into a giant stack of today's breaking and trending news, both local and global.
And our mission today is really to take all these seemingly, disconnected events and expose the hidden wires connecting them.
Right, because it's a fascinating stack of sources today.
It really is. What we're actually looking at is a real-time global stress test of human adaptation. We are watching societies, economies, and even the natural world push right up against their absolute physical limits.
Yeah.
And the ways we are reacting to that pressure, some incredibly proactive, some dangerously reactive, are going to define the next decade.
Let's start with those physical limits, actually, because the heat is the baseline for everything right now.
It's the driver.
Yes, Sri Lanka is absolutely scorching. Polonnaruwa and Pothoval just hit a brutal 37.5 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
And this isn't just a weekend heat wave. 12 districts are currently facing severe drought conditions.
Right.
Entire communities are relying on emergency water supplies. If you visualize the country's water grid, it's like a giant sponge.
Okay. I see.
And the sun is just slowly, relentlessly wringing it completely dry.
That sponge analogy is exactly right, because biologically, when that sponge goes dry, human behavior shifts immediately.
How so?
Well, scarcity breeds exploitation.
Yeah.
When people are desperate for a basic human necessity like water, the formal economy can't always keep up.
Right. The supply chains just snap.
Exactly. And the black market steps right into that vacuum, which brings us to that massive bust you mentioned in the intro.
Oh, yeah. The Consumer Affairs Authority just seized nearly 8,500 bottles of drinking water.
8,500?
Yeah, because they all had fake Sri Lanka Standard or SLS marks.
That is just wild to me. The logistics of that crime, I mean.
It takes effort.
Right. Counterfeiting a water bottle label requires printing infrastructure, distribution networks, retail compliance.
It's a whole operation.
Exactly. It's not a crime of passion. It's a calculated, organized exploitation of a climate-driven crisis.
It really highlights how extreme weather directly fuels localized crime.
It does.
And if we zoom out, this climate disruption is literally altering global trade routes, too.
Oh, you mean the canal?
Yeah. El Niño weather patterns are causing such severe droughts that the Panama Canal, which is one of the central arteries of global shipping,
Right.
they're being forced to limit their transit traffic starting in early September.
And that's because the canal operates on a lock system, right?
Exactly. It physically requires what? Millions of gallons of fresh water from local lakes just to lift the ships up and over the Continental Divide.
Yeah, it's entirely dependent on rain.
So if there's no rain, there's no water for the locks, which means massive cargo ships simply cannot pass through.
We are talking about a bottleneck that will delay goods and spike prices globally.
The physical environment is literally dictating economic reality.
It is.
And we're seeing the violent unpredictability of these waters in the Bay of Bengal right now, too.
Oh, that was a tragic story.
It really is. A Panama-flagged cargo ship just sank about 240 nautical miles off the Odisha coast.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it had a crew of 24. So far, only 2 survivors have been rescued,
That's awful.
and 22 people are still missing. It's a sobering reminder that despite all our satellite navigation and massive steel hulls,
Right.
the ocean still holds the ultimate veto power over our logistics.
It really does. Which begs the question, how do we adapt our infrastructure to survive an environment that is becoming increasingly hostile?
Well, we can't just sit around to wait for the rain to fill the reservoirs.
No, definitely not.
And looking at our local sources, Sri Lanka is attempting some massive pivots.
Yeah.
On the immediate energy front, our hydropower reservoirs are sitting at 67% capacity.
Okay, that's not terrible.
Officials claim it's safe until October,
Right.
but the long-term infrastructure is getting a massive overhaul. The planning is completely finished for a new electric train project covering Colombo and its suburbs.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, work is starting next year. And crucially, from 2028, the Department of Motor Traffic is completely replacing standard emission tests.
With what?
with comprehensive roadworthiness tests.
Wow! Now that shift from emission testing to total roadworthiness, that is a brilliant example of moving from reactive to proactive governance.
How do you mean?
Well, think about it. An emission test is narrow. It just tells you if a combustion engine is currently polluting.
Right, it's just looking at the tailpipe.
Exactly. But the roadworthiness test is a holistic health check. It looks at brake pad wear, suspension integrity, structural rust.
Oh, I see.
The mechanism here is about recognizing that as extreme weather degrades our roads faster, like with floods and heat.
Potholes everywhere.
Exactly. The vehicles navigating them need to be held to a much higher standard to prevent fatalities.
That makes total sense.
And it's the exact same logic behind the electric rail project, you know?
Yeah.
You're future-proofing the transit grid by decoupling it from fossil fuel volatility.
But even as we try to future-proof that grid, the present moment is such a paradox.
Yeah.
We have this severe drought drying out the country, but simultaneously, we are battling a severe dengue outbreak.
Which seems counterintuitive, right?
Totally. The dengue tracker is flashing red. And honestly, it makes sense mechanically when you think about it.
Oh, so?
Well, when municipal water runs dry, people start storing water in open containers at home,
Oh, right.
which creates perfect localized breeding grounds for mosquitoes.
Wow.
Yeah. But to compound this biological crisis, we have an administrative one. The public health inspectors, the PHIs who are on the ground fighting this, they are launching an island-wide trade union action tomorrow.
It's the definition of a compound crisis.
It really is.
You have the environmental trigger of the drought, you have the biological vector of the mosquito, and then the administrative paralysis of the strike.
The system is just seizing up.
Yeah. And these biological threats are dominating the global radar, too.
What's happening globally?
Well, Australia just confirmed its first ever case of the H5N1 bird flu in a local mammal.
Wait, a mammal?
Yeah, specifically a long-nosed potoroo.
Okay, a potoroo catching bird flu sounds like a strange piece of trivia.
Right, it sounds random.
But looking at the epidemiology notes here, the real terror is the species barrier.
Exactly.
Because avian influenza is structurally adapted to bind to the cells of birds.
Like a specific lock and key.
Right. So for it to successfully infect a marsupial mammal like a potoroo, the virus has to mutate.
It has to change its shape.
It has to learn how to attach to mammalian cell receptors. And every time it successfully makes that jump, it's essentially running a trial and error algorithm, getting one step closer to adapting to human receptors.
That is precisely the mechanism that has health officials on high alert.
It's terrifying.
It's an evolutionary leap. We are watching a virus actively figure out how to unlock mammalian biology in real time.
And while we monitor these invisible viral threats, the visible daily human toll is staggering.
Yeah.
In just a single 24-hour period, 5 people were killed in road accidents across Sri Lanka,
That's heartbreaking.
including a really tragic multi-vehicle crash near the Walpola railway crossing that took the life of an 8-year-old girl.
Oh, man.
It just goes right back to why that 2028 shift to structural roadworthiness tests cannot come fast enough.
It's devastating. And it forces us to look at the broader fracturing of social cohesion happening on the ground right now.
What do you mean by that?
Well, when environmental stress and resource scarcity squeeze a population, it chemically and psychologically elevates aggression.
Oh, for sure.
And we are seeing a very intense, localized wave of crime.
It's alarming, just looking at the reports. In Kikarawa, a 56-year-old man was beaten to death over a sudden dispute at a party.
A party, just spontaneous violence.
Yeah. And then in Barella, police recovered a live hand grenade thrown at a house.
A grenade.
A live grenade. And it was linked to a close associate of organized crime figure Wanatha Chetu.
Right.
We also have a 21-year-old suspect arrested for aiding and abetting the murder of the mother of another underworld figure, Bako Saman.
This isn't just petty theft.
No. This is military-grade hardware in residential areas and targeted revenge killings.
That's the key distinction. You have spontaneous interpersonal violence at a party, right, happening alongside highly calculated, militaristic, organized crime.
It's a spectrum of violence.
Exactly. It shows a systemic breakdown where violence is becoming the default dispute resolution mechanism,
Yeah.
and it bleeds directly into the illicit economy.
The drug bust definitely confirmed that. Authorities arrested suspects in Gumagala with over 1,044 kilograms of cannabis.
That is a massive haul.
And in a separate raid in Hambagamua, they seized another 73 million rupees worth of it.
Wow.
And the economic policing is really trying to keep a lid on the desperation. In Jaffna, the magistrate's court just fined 3 businesses 668,000 rupees for overpricing basic goods.
Which circles right back to the counterfeit water bottles we started with.
Oh, absolutely.
Scarcity creates a vacuum and opportunism fills it. And this kind of violent opportunism respects no boundaries.
What do you mean?
Well, globally, we just received the shocking news out of South Africa that Zelani Tet, a 2-time world champion boxer, was shot dead outside his own home.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, the physical vulnerability of individuals right now is just incredibly high.
It really paints a picture of a world on edge.
It does.
But we can't let that entirely overshadow the macroeconomic data.
Yeah.
Because the formal numbers tell a completely different story.
They do, surprisingly.
Amidst all this localized friction, Sri Lanka is actually engineering a massive economic and cultural resurgence.
Yeah, the tourism numbers are insane.
We are currently South Asia's most favored nation for tourism. Over 1.46 million tourists have arrived in 2026 so far.
That's huge.
India is leading with over 366,000 visitors. The UK has brought in 144,000, and China nearly 100,000.
Wow.
August alone brought in 125,000 tourists.
That is a colossal injection of foreign currency, which mechanically stabilizes the local exchange rate and allows the government to import essentials.
Right.
And it aligns with broader financial optimism. Sri Lanka is currently climbing the global investor relations and debt transparency rankings.
Which is crucial right now.
It is the bedrock of sovereign debt restructuring. Creditors need to see the actual math before they renegotiate terms.
And the leadership seems to be actively pushing for this modernization.
Yeah.
President Anura Kumara Dissanayake recently made a very firm call for scientific research to become the primary driver of economic growth.
Which is a big shift.
Huge.
Yeah.
And we are seeing this manifest on the ground with massive education reforms. They're pivoting school curriculums away from rote memorization.
Completely.
Yeah, and aligning them directly with the demands of local and foreign job markets.
It's a fundamental recognition that the mid-20th century model, relying solely on cheap labor and raw exports, is just dead.
It's not enough anymore.
No. If a developing economy wants to survive the next 20 years, it has to integrate into the global knowledge economy. You have to export expertise, not just apparel or tea.
Speaking of the knowledge economy, I have a statistic from the sources that absolutely stopped me in my tracks.
Let's hear it.
81% of Sri Lankans are now using artificial intelligence instead of Google for their daily queries.
Wait, 81%?
81%. We have completely leapfrogged traditional search engines.
The adoption velocity on that is staggering.
It really is.
But we have to look at the mechanical difference between those two tools.
Exactly, because with a traditional search engine, the algorithm gives you a list of sources.
And you have to do the work.
Right. You have to evaluate the credibility,
Yeah.
synthesize the information, draw a conclusion. It requires cognitive friction.
Right.
But with an AI language model, you are handed a pre-synthesized answer. It removes the friction of research.
But it also means we are outsourcing our critical thinking to a black box.
Exactly.
We are trusting an unseen algorithm's biases to define our reality.
That loss of the research process is the hidden cost.
Yeah.
However, the sheer economic throughput it provides is undeniable. A massive new World Bank report just dropped, stating that AI could completely transform developing economies in just 10 years.
Just 10 years.
The mechanism here is leapfrogging. Just like many developing nations skipped laying down copper telephone wires and went straight to mobile phones.
Oh, right. They just bypassed the old tech.
Exactly.
Yeah.
AI allows a workforce to instantly augment its output without spending 50 years building a legacy service sector.
But there is a massive counter-movement happening simultaneously.
Oh, for sure.
Governments are waking up to the fact that handing the keys of their economy to a few tech monopolies is dangerous.
Very.
Australia just passed a landmark law forcing tech giants to actually pay local media outlets for the news content they scrape and distribute.
That's a huge precedent.
It is. And in China, looking at traditional capital monopolies, Hui Kaiyan, the founder of the embattled real estate behemoth Evergrande, has just been sentenced to life in prison.
Wow, life in prison. But those two events are fundamentally about the same thing, aren't they?
How do you mean?
Sovereign states reasserting dominance over corporate behemoths.
No, absolutely.
Whether it's a digital monopoly hoarding ad revenue in Australia or a real estate monopoly over leveraging the national economy in China, governments are forcibly installing a ceiling on unchecked corporate power.
Which brings us perfectly into the geopolitical sphere.
Yes, and looking at the geopolitical stack today, there is a lot of politically charged maneuvering.
There really is.
And as always on this deep dive, Our goal isn't to take a side here, but to just look at the raw data and impartially report the mechanical moves these international players are making.
Just looking at the board.
Right. And right now, the board is incredibly tense.
The friction is almost palpable.
Canada has officially announced they will retaliate with their own targeted tariffs against U.S. President Donald Trump's imposition of 50% levies on Canadian goods.
Wow.
Meanwhile, Iran is publicly condemning U.S. plans for new sanctions. And in response, President Trump has threatened, quote-unquote, tremendous economic consequences for any country that assists Iran.
That's heavy rhetoric.
And physically backing up that rhetoric, the USS George Washington Aircraft Carrier Strike Group has just entered the Arabian Sea amid significant international outcry.
You know, when an aircraft carrier strike group moves, it's not just a show of force.
What does it actually do?
It mechanically alters the security calculus of every shipping lane and military installation in that hemisphere. It's the ultimate geopolitical lever.
And shifting our lens from global leverage to local transparency, the reports today offer some stark numbers on how power operates internally here in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, this was eye-opening.
A recent metric assessing civic participation claims that the public essentially only has a 9 out of 100 say in the national budget process.
A 9 out of 100 indicates a highly centralized, almost impenetrable financial structure.
Right.
When the public cannot see or influence how capital is allocated, you get massive inefficiencies.
And we see a perfect example of this in the energy sector today.
Oh, with the coal.
Yes. Recent procurement documents reveal that Sri Lanka's massive coal tenders were based entirely on rough estimates, rather than the actual verified operational requirements of the power plants.
Which means the state is potentially buying millions of dollars of coal it doesn't need.
Or leaving plants undersupplied.
Right. But the legislative branch is making moves to clear some of these systemic bottlenecks.
What are they doing?
Well, the government is presenting the draft 22nd Amendment bill. The core mechanism of this bill is to restructure judicial appointments and processes, specifically to ease the massive backlog of court cases and curtail judicial delays.
That will be huge.
And the cabinet is also receiving a dedicated committee report designed to formalize the framework for presidential pardons, stripping away the ambiguity there.
And the judiciary itself is highly active right now.
Yeah, they are.
Facts have been officially reported to the Court of Appeal regarding contempt of court actions against 6 prominent political activists.
Right.
The sources list Wimo Wirawansa, Udaya Gamanpila, Sugishwara Bandara, and Dalith Jayawera among them. It shows the legal apparatus is flexing its authority.
On a completely different governance note, environmental management is stepping up.
Oh, sharks.
Yeah, Sri Lanka is officially strengthening the regulatory framework for its shark fishing industry, which is vital for marine biodiversity.
That's good news.
It is, however, there is a massive maritime threat brewing. Articles today are warning that the Colombo port is under severe threat from Galathea.
Now, to clarify for our listeners, Galathea isn't a storm.
No.
It refers to India's massive Galathea Bay transshipment port project in the Great Nicobar Island.
Right.
Colombo's economy survives on being the primary transshipment hub for the region. If Galathea Bay opens and diverts those megaships, it could mechanically undercut Colombo's maritime dominance.
It's a perfect storm of challenges. You are managing ancient natural resources like sharks, modern legal frameworks with constitutional amendments, and emerging economic leviathans like the Galathea port all at once.
And speaking of balancing the ancient and the modern, I want to take a breath and look at culture and sports.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because amidst all this heavy tension, there is so much human triumph today.
For sure.
The historic Kandy Esala Perahera is in full swing.
Oh, it's beautiful.
The first Randoli Perahera took to the streets on the 23rd, and the second one is happening tonight.
Oh, wow.
Despite some heavy traffic disruptions, it is drawing absolutely massive crowds to the hill capital. It is one of the most visually stunning, unbroken cultural traditions on the planet.
It really is. It's a testament to cultural endurance.
We also saw the Sri Lanka Air Force Culinary Festival, concluding beautifully in Sigiriya. There's a fascinating ecological piece today detailing the untold story of Kumana's post-war restoration, how they mechanically brought a war-torn ecosystem back to life.
That's amazing.
And in the corporate sphere, Budi Wickramanayake just took home the Executive of the Year award at the Capital Maharaja Group Convention.
You know, these stories of restoration and excellence, they are vital counterweights to the systemic stress we've been tracking today.
They really are.
And shifting to the sports world, we see that drive for excellence playing out with mixed results.
Let's start with the cricket pitch.
Yeah.
The galley test was tough to watch.
Yeah.
India absolutely dismantled Sri Lanka by 165 runs, taking a 1-0 lead in the series.
Yeah, that was rough.
And we've had a roster shakeup. Pasindu has been called in to replace the injured Chandimal.
And globally, the cricket world is scratching its head over a bizarre anomaly down in Australia.
Oh, the Mackay test.
Yeah. The Mackay Test match just made history for being one of the shortest completed tests ever. It lasted exactly 750 balls.
That's insane.
They wrapped up an entire test match in just 2 days.
Wow.
Meanwhile, English cricket is facing a massive off-field discipline storm after their fast bowler, Bryden Carse, was photographed in handcuffs outside a nightclub.
Yikes. But the athletic story that gave me absolute chills today belongs to local sports hero Rumesh Tharanga.
Oh, this is great.
He has just climbed to world #1 in the men's javelin rankings.
Incredible.
And he didn't offer any humble platitudes. He came out and boldly stated, quote, "I'll bring Sri Lanka an Olympic gold."
I love that confidence.
Add to that the mention that Sri Lanka's silver champion has one more major goal left to conquer, and the ambition right now is just infectious.
That kind of psychological drive, the absolute refusal to accept current human limits, is incredible to watch.
Right, human limits. Which brings me to the final, most mind-bending story in our stack today.
Here we go.
At the World Humanoid Robot Games in Beijing, a Chinese humanoid robot just ran the 100-meter dash in 9.39 seconds.
9.39 seconds.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
For context, Usain Bolt's legendary human world record, the absolute peak of biological speed, is 9.58 seconds.
Wow.
This robot just shattered it. But I have to push back on the framing here.
What do you mean?
Well, the sources call this a quote-unquote sports game. What does the word sports even mean if we start celebrating robots taking the records?
That's a fair point.
We don't give a Ferrari a gold medal for being faster than a sprinter.
No, we don't.
Isn't the entire point of athletics the human struggle, the lactic acid, the tearing of the muscle?
It's a brilliant philosophical distinction. You're absolutely right. A robot running 9.39 seconds isn't an athletic achievement.
Right.
It's a material science and engineering achievement.
Exactly.
But it forces us to entirely redefine our boundaries. Usain Bolt represented the absolute pinnacle of human biological evolution on a track.
Yeah.
That robot represents the pinnacle of our cognitive evolution, our ability to design a synthetic architecture that surpasses our own physical constraints.
So it's less about the robot winning a race and more about humanity successfully building a new kind of vessel to carry our ambitions.
Exactly. And if we synthesize every single thing we've unpacked today, that is the overarching theme.
Adaptation.
Humanity is in a state of hyperspeed adaptation. We are building electric trains and rewriting road laws to adapt to a climate that is literally boiling our water reservoirs.
Yeah.
We are balancing the profound ancient human traditions of the Perahera against a reality where 81% of the population is offloading their daily cognitive load to artificial intelligence.
The old map we used to navigate the world is burning up.
Yeah.
And we're essentially cartographers drawing a new one in real time.
Precisely. Which leaves us with a critical question to look forward to. Well, we noted that the World Bank predicts AI could transform developing economies in just 10 years, allowing them to leapfrog traditional industrial phases.
Right.
At the exact same time, we are now building humanoid robots that can literally outrun our greatest human legends.
Yeah.
So as we look to the next decade, will the developing nations of tomorrow be defined by the physical natural resources they possess in the ground? Or will they be entirely defined by how quickly and effectively they can partner with artificial intelligence to leapfrog the traditional models of human limitation?
There's a deeply provocative thought, and it is going to stick with me all day.
It's a lot to think about.
We're stepping into entirely new territory. Thank you so much for joining us and exploring these hidden wires today. This has been your deep dive on RTV Global Network. We will see you next time.